when the sky is blue, it's really blue, and you
Yeah.
really enjoy it. And
Yeah.
if a bird is chirping, and it's like winter, you don't really hear a lot of birds, and you hear that bird, and you're like, oh, it's just the world is a lot more beautiful. So that's, I think, what she meant. It's just Technicolor because it's just, everything is more intense.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'd rather go back to the way it was before. We were having all sorts of stupid arguments with each other, Laurie and me. I would like to be in that world, but I'm not. That's not what I was going to do. So, by the way, I went cross-country skiing today. You know, I feel great, more or less. I have a headache. There's just this little part of my brain that's fucked up. The rest of me is totally fine, you know? Hopefully it'll stay that way. So, number 3, and I don't know, this is very religious. You know, so I'm most familiar with the Christian tradition and the Jewish tradition. You know, in Norman's top pocket, I urge you to take a look. He's got, die ganze Heilige Schrift, or den Psalmen, was ist das?
Psalmen and New Testament.
So, you know, it's a lot, and he carries it around with him everywhere. And, you know, so many songs of praise. You know, I was in a British school, and so I learned all these fucking songs of praise. And then you go to the Jewish canon, and you know, when somebody dies, and about 18 times through every service, you say Kaddish. And what is Kaddish? It's a praise to God. You know, what the fuck is going on here? And why should I think about that so much? And I developed this thought over the last, recently, is that, so here's how I interpret it, is that we're practicing. When the few of us who go to services, whatever it is, we're practicing singing praise. What does it actually mean in real life? When you go cross-country skiing, when you knit the way our daughter does, when you make dinner for your family the way my wife does, when you get dressed up for a nice dinner, whether you teach them, so long as you're not doing harm to anybody else or yourself, actually that's what praising existence means, God, the Almighty, whatever you want to call it. And that's what we are required to do. That is the only thing that we're required to do in life, is to do that. And because my answer to my diagnosis has been just that. I've tried everything else. I've tried complaining, believe me. I've tried crying. My wife knows all about that. But what really works is just to get on and live. And, you know, I was saying that over the last 2 days, I was feeling like crap 2 days ago. And something about being here, being with all you fine folk, going cross-country skiing, I still have a headache all the time. But somehow it doesn't get worse. And even in my state, the only thing to do is to get on and live your best life. That's the only choice we have. We don't know what's coming next. So that is my third point. So, you know, I had some other examples there. You know, our daughter was here, Eva, from Colombia, and she's knitting the whole fucking time. That's in a way praising God, you know? So whatever it is, as long as you're not doing harm to others, and you love to do it, you know? So, so then I have, you know, who are the dog owners here? So we have, yeah, plenty. So I think of, I'm blanking on you, sorry. What's that? No, you. What am I forgetting?
Ninad.
Ninad, exactly, Ninad. Why can't I remember Ninad's name? So one of the things that I have is that anyway, so it's got to do with getting better from whatever they did in my head. So, and I've seen it in our dog and most dogs. And when you get into a tussle between two dogs, Len has 16 dogs and 48 cats at home, so Ninad, you nothing. Is that right?
4 dogs.
So yeah, 400 dogs and 2,800 cats. So we all know, we've all seen a dog that they're trying to decide who's the dominant dog, and at some point they lie down and they expose all of their testicles, whatever, and they say, okay, you've got me. And you know, especially the NBA types, you know, I lived my whole life in control I didn't realize, but I was in control of so many things. But you know what? I don't have the quote from Ernest Hemingway. Life breaks all of us at the end, and that's true of every single one in this person in this room. At the end of the day, life will break us. Is what I found out. What the journey that I've been on the last year is like. No matter I'm wealthy, I run a fund, I have the best, you know, you can go on and on and on. At some point, life breaks us, and you have to. What I said at the end, you know, at some point you have to say, okay, I'm here. There's nothing I can do, and you know, my life is in all the Almighty's hands, the fate's hands, however you want to call it, fortune's hands, if you like, and we'll all get there sooner or later. And there are some prayers that I know that Shmuel knows far better than me, where, especially in Yom Kippur, where it's basically you're saying to God, we are nothing, you're everything. And at some point, everybody gets to that point. If you haven't gotten there yet, you will soon enough. And I can say that, I think that my family is, there are many ways, nobody wants this in their lives, for sure. But because you have a front seat, you actually are learning something by seeing me. You're developing wisdom. I mean, 3 in 100,000 get this every year, so it's a very small number of people. But yeah, there's lots of wisdom to be gained, and if I share that wisdom with you, then I'm happy about that. So that's, you know, that's my my dog thing. So we can even learn from dogs. And then, you know, so you know, and sorry, it's very religious. So do you believe in God or not? And you know, are you Brian's been talking about being a deist or not. And we all know Pascal's wager. But I realized something, and I said it to Brian driving up here in my new Ferrari, my second-hand new Ferrari, that he was driving, because I'm not allowed to drive these days. But what was it? I'm having a senior moment. So no matter, like, I know that you don't want to hear this, Laurie, but at the end of the day, I believe that when it's over, it's over. There's nothing left. You know, Laurie thinks something differently, but that's fine. But I learned this. I'm going to leave, if I go, I hope I live for another 80 years or 120 years or whatever it is. But if I go sooner rather than later, I want to make sure that I leave the people who love me and who care about me with thoughts that they can appreciate. And thoughts will make them live good lives and happy lives subsequent to my passing. And so I noticed in Laurie's eyes, I'm going to say it to the room. So I said to Laurie, and with Laurie, it comes from the bottom of my heart, because she's been just amazing when I said that if she did not support me the way I did, I'd be a fucking basket case to the power of basket case. And but her strength, her love for me makes me stronger. So I said to Laurie, I don't know what happens once I'm gone, but I want you to know that I'm putting in a good word for you. I'm certain that whoever it is up there, the place, and I'm going to be making it very welcome for you. There's going to be plenty of things to do that we both love to do together. There's going to be wine to drink. And I want Laurie to live knowing that I'm waiting for her, if you like. Who cares what the reality is? That is a better way to live, if you like. So I want you all to know that I can't wait for ValueX in the sky. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to put in a good word for all of you if I go before you. You know. So that's my I'm almost done here, and then we'll go to questions. So yeah, the last thing is so I really think that this Letty Pograbin book on you know, for your sick friend. The first thing is do no harm. And Laurie, I didn't tell you this. She lived on West 67th Street, which is where we lived in New York. Not 40, but 50 or 60, right next door. She lived, anyway, we lived in New York, and we would have been neighbors at the time. And she was sick with cancer, and she survived, and she wrote this basically for her friends, and then she wrote it up into a book. But, you know, Shmuel, if he studied enough Talmud, will know there's a whole tractate, and Shmuel's going to tell me which tractate it is, about traditions around dying and death. Do you know, what tractate is it, Shmuel? You don't know? You're going to find out. But anyway, and there's the idea that if you study that tractate, then you're going to die later rather than sooner. So it's a good thing to study the tractate. You have a long life. But one simple thing, and when I was in New York, Brian, when you were doing whatever you were doing, I was going to Talmud classes, which was fun and interesting. Anyway, it's a whole story. But so I learned one thing from this tractate, and it's so simple. So what I've been doing a lot of grieving in the last year over what I may not get to see, children, grandchildren, whatever it is, over the next 20 years, which I may not get to see. And so if somebody's grieving, either because they have lost somebody already, or they're grieving their loss of health, which is not their fault. It happened, they didn't want it to happen. Every person that you see in a wheelchair, every old person you see wants to be like us or younger. And so how do you start a conversation with them? And it's actually very simple. You let them start the conversation. You don't say anything. If they want to talk about their disease, then you talk about that. If they want to talk about the sunshine, but you let them lead, and you let them decide where they want to go, and then you follow, and it's as simple as that. But the book is a great book, and the Wall Street Journal article is great. We're trying to get copies, but I don't know that we'll get any. I don't know, we're trying with the Wall Street Journal to get something. So those are my 6 points. And now I want to make this short, because I want to make it about investing, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you want.
Thanks firstly for that, Guy. That was pretty amazing. What I'd like to know is, over your career, you've been so generous with some people in the room. How have you said no? It's something I'm trying to get better at as well. You're so generous with your time. How do you put structures in place to say no? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So, you laugh, Monish. You laugh. But I'm gonna call you in a second. So I've gotten a lot better at saying no since my diagnosis. But Monish, how am I at saying no? Very bad.
Getting better.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I've seen it.
I've said yes to too many things. Simple as that. And there's you want to follow Monish in this, not me. And this is well known. The cost of a false positive is very, very high. So if you hire somebody and it turns out to be a bad hire, that is a very expensive thing. So you want to say no more than you say yes. And if you say no to things that actually would have turned out okay, that's totally fine. You need to expect it. I'm very, very bad at it. I'm getting better. The people who are really good at it are more successful, actually. And it is tied to success. But I've been bad at it, actually. Follow Monish, not me. So thank you.
Question here.
Gillian, and then you have.
I will
go ahead.
yield.
Okay, I asked Guy this earlier, but I'm going to ask him again because I thought that his answer was important.
I don't know that I'll remember it. I hope I do.
Well, then you'll give me a different answer this time. I asked you what realization you were most surprised by. That you've had all of these, and I can tell you your answer.
Why don't you start me off and I'll finish?
It had to do with how much suffering is out there.
Oh yeah. Laurie's heard this 1,000 times. So it's like the reason why I don't want to be up here is like fucking sad, man. Let's get into investment ideas or something else. But so a classmate of ours from business school was a quadriplegic. She slipped in the shower. We don't know exactly what happened. She broke her neck, C2, C3, I don't know what. She was lying in bed for 7 or 8 years, and then she died recently. I lived 58 years with zero suffering. What I thought was suffering was not suffering. Horsehead, not suffering. You know, what financial crisis, not suffering. 1,000 different things, not suffering. I didn't realize how much I could suffer, and Laurie knows how much I've suffered. And I didn't realize that, you know, I thought that, so my father spent 3 weeks in St Mary's Hospital in London. You don't want to spend 3 weeks in St Mary's Hospital in London. So he's sitting, he had an infection in his leg, and it took 3 weeks for them to, he's better now, and he's going on 90. He was flying yesterday on my birthday, so I couldn't talk to him. Solo flying, can you believe it? Or maybe not solo flying with another person, but he really didn't know that he would make it. In his ward, or not in his ward, in his room, was one guy who, on his speakerphone, would transmit the prayers from the local mosque, full blast, you know, for everybody to hear, even my father to hear. We visited him. There was another Italian guy who had to play soccer, and again, full blast soccer, listening to the score. What was the third guy? I don't know. Not fun at all. You don't want to spend time in a London hospital in a public hospital if you cannot do that. And I thought I would never experience that level of suffering. Well, I can now say that I think I've experienced more than his level of suffering. And so I didn't realize how much I could suffer. I was in and you know, in his eyes, you can see it. He knows it. I don't know why anybody would become a doctor, because you're confronted with suffering all the time. And his daughter is a pediatric oncologist. I mean, I don't know how people do that. And then at the same time, this is what I'm going around the houses a little bit. I realized that my suffering is nothing in comparison to what is out there. It could be way worse. I visited Germany once, this quadriplegic, and I know that her suffering is nothing to be compared to mine. You know, simple thing, like I've lost, since my third surgery, my right hand is like a baby, so I'm learning to use my right hand again. But look, I'm on the stage and I'm walking around, and I went cross-country skiing this morning. Joni, if she had something that was irritating in her eye, she couldn't have done anything about it other than to get a nurse to try and massage her eye, whatever it is. So the amount of human suffering that's out there is really extraordinary, and we are just, the vast majority of us are just innocent to it. And I think that we should just be humble to that idea. And you know, we're all, and even me today, and I have trouble focusing on it. My wife doesn't have a trouble focusing on it. Chantal and the team have been amazing. You know, we're all, in a way, walking on an edge of a cliff. And the distance between how we are today and how we could be is just, we're all walking on a knife edge, if you like. And we can flip to another world so quickly, the way I did that afternoon in, what is it, Sunday afternoon?
Saturday, the 23rd of November, 2024.
Yeah, exactly. So
At 5:30.
there's the answer. But we have, I keep blanking on your name. It's terrible. Mark, exactly. Thank you. I'm so anyway. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question, but before the question, I have I guess I have a predicate to the question, and then an aside, and then the question. Predicate to the question is, the world has changed a lot since you wrote your letter at your end. Okay, now the aside. Thank you. I look forward to coming here all the time. You and I had the pleasure of meeting at HBS many years ago. We've been on trains, buses, cars, where you were driving in rush hour. But we're all here for you. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm here for you. So it goes both ways.
All right. So the world has changed. What do you think is most important as an investor now, since you wrote your letter at the end of the year?
You know, it's interesting. So, on the one hand, I love being with everybody in this room, and we've in a way grown up together as investors, and we've developed deep relationships with each other. But you know, in another world, who the fuck cares about investing? You know, it's like, just go out and have a nice ski day. You know, who cares? I won't be around, you know? And in my case, I'm very, very lucky, I'm very fortunate. I have enough money to live for, and for my children to live. So in a way, I don't, you know, Brian, we're going to go to Google next, we should go to Google. And as an intellectual exercise, it's fun. But you know, in a certain way, yeah, I have and it doesn't really answer your question, but I don't fucking care. Because I just want to, you know what the most beautiful moments for me are these days are every night I go to sleep next to Laurie, and I say thank you to Laurie, and I look forward to that moment, and it's just a beautiful moment. And from that perspective, who the fuck cares how much money I make or didn't make? It's just irrelevant. And that's a weird, and in a way, it's maybe it's God showing me what's really important. So sorry for the non-answer to your question. I think for this group here, maybe this is valuable. I don't think there's anything wrong with being extraordinarily privileged the way we are in this room, and thinking about how to make ourselves and people around us richer, to make the rich richer. We're not doing any harm to anybody by doing that. And so long as you're living your best life, then that is fine. But I think that for a certain period in my life, I was too focused on that, and I wasn't enjoying every day. So long as you're enjoying every day at the same time, and that is part of your life, then it's fine to be sitting here thinking and having fun, thinking about what's going to happen to Google, what's happening to software, all of those things. But it's a non-answer, I'm afraid. And in a way, the answer doesn't lie in investing, it lies in bigger things, which is why the topics I discuss are actually, you know, your relationship to the eternal, relationship to the almighty, all of those things. So sorry for the non-answer, Mark. So how many more questions are we going to do? Because, you know, I'm trying to get off the stage here, so we're going to do one or two. So, you know, I want you to know that one day Sophocles will call ValueX Cyprus or something like that. And I look forward to attending. That is very important. And
I love you guys.
And please, all the Israelis, it's a short hop. And if you weren't invited already, I've just imposed on Sophocles to invite you. I think I would, you know, we have good friends in Cyprus, we'd love to go, and I'm really hoping to go sooner rather than later.
Well, you know, I try to avoid the holidays to make it easier for our friends in Israel who celebrate to be able to come. But please know, you have an invitation. If you tell me I'm coming on Sunday, I'd be like, okay, I'm picking you up, and I'll just show you around the entire island. So you don't have to wait to come to the event. Yeah. You can come.
Even the Turkish side?
Yeah. Right.
I'll make a sacrifice just for you. I've been once.
One of my first vacations was in Kyrenia, and it was beautiful. I love that place.
We'll go to Kyrenia. You just come there, and I'll show you the entire island until you can say stop. I cannot eat no more.
I'm looking forward to it.
So I'd like to say thank you for the sharing. To be honest, I wasn't too looking forward to this session, to be honest.
Me neither.
Yes, but thank you for sharing. And I really loved how you started, and when you told us how you were a playboy, because I just can't imagine, you know. But where I'm going with this is that you were telling about the things that you felt that that you made mistakes that you didn't feel comfortable with, and it's something I've also, and I'm sure a lot of people, because I can't imagine, because you're so kind and you're so smart and you're so successful. I'm like, Guy Spier was like a playboy, and he has these like thoughts about that he wasn't, committed, or he wasn't there and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. So, because I have some thoughts like that. Well, I never thought I was a playboy like you, but You know, I've had stupider thoughts. I'm not even gonna mention them, I'd be so embarrassed, right? But I've had these stupider thoughts of like some stuff in my youth, like, why did I do this? Or why did I say this thing? And it could be something from 30 years ago about some stupid thing that happened at a bar or something, right? And it just, you know, every so often I think about these stupid things. And, you know, and I'm sure all the so super smart people in the room have maybe similar thoughts on some investments or things. And I don't know, is your lesson just say, fuck it, forget about all these things, take what you learned and just go forward? Is that what it is? Or is there something you can, you know, is there something that can help us with these thoughts of like the past, of, you know, what we did, which at that point in time seemed to be okay, you know?
So the first thing is that I wanted to interject, but I think that part of what you're saying is, if this schmuck can do it, so can I. So you and me together, we can both do it. I think that's part of your question. And that's why people enjoy reading my book. They say, well, if this schmuck can do it, so can I. And it's strange, I really don't want to be religious the whole time, but I find myself being religious the whole time. So, you know, what is true repentance? So first of all, you have to apologize to the people you've hurt, and that's clear. And then the next thing is just, you need to know, at least in your heart of hearts, that if you're in the same situation, you would do it differently. You wouldn't do the same mistake again. And once you've done that, you know, like, live. Don't like, get that baggage off your shoulders. So I think that a lot of people think that it's just about forgiveness. Yes, it's good to apologize to the people that you've hurt, and you don't live without hurting people. That's life, and yourself. You know, the stick for vous, what he was saying to me was, he's saying, you're hurting yourself by not taking yourself seriously, in effect. But the real repentance comes, as Shmuel will tell me, and I know that you know this one. Have you looked up which tractate it is yet?
It's not half tractates.
Oh. Okay, so it's a lot of tractates. But so long as you know that you've repented in that way, you know that you would do it differently if it happened. Like, I know that if James Emmanuel and that situation repeats last night, I would not do the same thing again. I would do it differently. Then, you know, you should, you know, drop the baggage and move on. So, we're going to go to Marcelo.
I just turn around. We just want to show evidence of your Playboy times.
Turn around.
Turn around.
Wow. No.
Look at no.
Yeah, I'd like the audience to think what that worked like in the BMW convertible. I mean, was that effective or not, ladies in the audience?
That was when you were 22, no?
Wow.
Yeah.
I gave up ski bumming in Europe to go to Harvard Business School. I should have been a ski bum.
Yes. No.
Big mistake, guy.
Yeah, you know, and the worst thing about, so I was living the life in Europe, and these fucking US Puritans, you know, and like, I didn't know that you don't date a fellow Harvard Business School student, or unless you're committed to getting married to that person, because otherwise they would. So like, I learned not to date anybody from Harvard Business School, at least not unless I was very, very serious. Anyway, I learned a lot, and Brian.
I'm just cocking my head to the side. I'm not.
We would have had. We've had. The best was my time. Anyway, whatever. Yes, thank you. Okay. Last question. My wife's in the room. I have to be careful.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
There,
Last question. Well, Guy, I just wanted to comment and perhaps answer Sophocles. You gave a master class in Stoic philosophy. A lot of what you said could have been said by Marcus Aurelius, so it was very well done. And one of the phrases of Stoic philosophy is semper anticus in Latin, which means always forward. So you don't worry about the past because you don't want to be owned by the past. So everybody makes mistakes and you just want to move forward.
Yeah. And moving forward, and I'll end on this, and thank you for that. And I don't think I gave a master class. I'm just a student with everybody else. But so there's a guy called Panksepp who wrote The Archaeology of Emotion, I think it's called that. Anyway, you're going to read it, Chris, now, and everybody's going to read it, and Brian not paying attention, but, so like, in your reptilian brain, down there, so I guess what I'm riffing on is this idea that meditation doesn't work for me, and a lot of people that resonated with. Moving forward, engaging your seeking behavior, that's what humans do. They seek, and they go out into the world and they discover. And that it makes me very, very happy when I'm doing that, because I lose myself. And I'm focused on what I'm curious about. And that's what we do here. And with that, thank you very much for listening.
Can you